April 1973, Queens, New York. A 10-year-old boy was with his father when policemen in plainclothes stopped them at gunpoint, supposedly having mistaken them as suspects in an armed robbery. The suspect described as being about 1 foot taller than the boy. The boy and his father ran away, in fear they were about to be victims of robbery. The police chased them, and the 10-year-old boy, Clifford Glover, was fatally shot. The bullet entered Glover's lower back and emerged at the top of his chest, going through his heart. The case led to riots across the city and a murder indictment against the officer, who was later acquitted in a jury trial. Mick Jagger told the story in the lyrics. "You Heartbraker, with your 44, I want to tear your world apart." Also in the song, there is a non-factual story of a teenage girl who died of a drug overdose in a back alley. The 44 Magnum cartridge had become famous by the 1971 film Dirty Harry, in which the character, Harry Callahan, uses the most powerful handgun in the world to cleanse the streets of crime. The lyrics complement the music, which the Rolling Stones magazine describes as urban rhythm and blues, given its funky feel. Hey, how are you? My name is Ed, and welcome to my home studio. It's nice to be here again. I had this crazy idea of recording a song, doing a cover song of one of my favorite bands of all times, and that would be the Rolling Stones. And the idea was to record this song using only dynamic microphones. And I thought, I have 4 microphones. They're all from the same brand. I'm talking about Shure microphones. One of them is the one I'm speaking to you through, which is the SM7. From Shure. And I also have a trio of SM57s. One is brand new and 2 I bought used some time ago. And I decided to use only these 2 microphones, actually these 2 types of microphone, to record an entire song. It will be a very regular rock and roll setup: drums, bass, guitar, and vocals. Recording the drums this time was a little bit of a challenge because I did not want my drums to sound the same like the previous recordings. So I did kind of like the Glenn Jones method. However, I kept a regular microphone. I kept one of the 57s on top of the snare. The difference today is that I'm routing all my drums or all my drum tracks to a subgroup, and that subgroup had been added effects such as ambience, reverb, if you will, and some compression as well as equalization. I am using the Waves package from Abbey Road Chambers, so I'm just using a preset. There's nothing fancy. I found a combination I liked with a short reverb time, and that's what I'm using for the whole drum set. Again, what feeds this effect is the drum submix. I also noticed that I could have a bit more of an aggression, or let's say a little bit more of a cymbal wash, if I added more compression. So what I decided to do was, again, to create another submix. I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I did it anyway. So then I decided to have additional compression on the drum tracks. So what we've got is 4 tracks for the drums, which is bass drum with an SM7, a snare drum with the SM57, and I also have 2 more 57s, one right atop of the snare, something like 6 feet away, and then I have another microphone that, if you use the listener's perspective, it's going to be placed to the left of the drum set, depending on your perspective. I also recorded 2 guitar tracks, and the setup was exactly the same, or pretty much the same. I'm using the amplifier's own distortion for that. It's a 6-watt amplifier. It's a Brazilian amplifier made by Acedo Audio, which is all tube. So for home studio work, it does a very good job. I have also added the third guitar part, which is for some additional phrasings and some fills, in which I use a Leslie simulation from Amplitude 4. To record the vocals, then I invited my good friend William Moura, who also happens to be an excellent harp player, so he was in charge of the vocals. I did the vocals with the SM7 and added a little bit of distortion, or let's say a little bit of a drive and compression as I recorded. I did this with the PreSonus Studio Channel, which is a tube preamp. It has a decent equalizer in it. It does not have any vintage sound, but it does give you the growl of the tube, so I decided to use it. And playing it back, I also used a little bit of a drive using a Waves plugin for that. The drums have been played by my good old friend Edine, who is also a partner here in the studio, so he did a great job. He was very generous doing that, so thank you very much, both of you, Edine and William. Let's take a listen to the tracks. First, let's listen to the whole drums with the mics up in the room, the way it was recorded. I only used the regular preset that was there, and I also used a little bit of compression. And now let's listen to the drums once again, however, with the additional subgroup mix in which I added more distortion and more compression. I have routed the drum mics through this Soundcraft board. It's got really decent preamps and very flexible equalization, so I used this during the recording. Also, both the bass drum and the snare drum were being compressed through an old Alesis 3630 compressor. I have also used the PreSonus Studio Channel to record all of the individual parts, bass, electric guitars, and vocals. I did this to take advantage of its tube preamp. It has a decent equalization with some good tonal flexibility, and it also has a compressor which allows me to process the audio before it hits the interface, before it hits the computer. So if you'd like to know more about the recording process into greater depth, leave a comment on the comment section. Depending on the turnout, I may even put together a video just talking about the process. Let's take a listen to the guitars now. It's true rhythm guitars, as I said, so the same guitar, same amp, same microphone. Again, it's exactly the same setup for both guitars. The only difference might be some tonal characteristics, because I didn't use the same pickups, or because I may have changed the mic position, or because I just tweaked the EQ a little bit just to give it a different textures, let's say. And then there is this guitar, which ran through a Leslie simulation. Let's hear for the vocals.
Heartbraker, with your 44. I wanna tell you a word apart. You're heartbreaker, with your 44. I wanna tell the word apart.
And this is what it sounds like with all the tracks together.
Heartbreaker, with your 44. I wanna tell you a word apart. You're heartbreaker, with your 44. I wanna tell the word apart.
So how did you like this? please give us your opinion. If you have any suggestions, any tips, any comments, feel free to do this in the comment section. And if you like this video and if you like this content, I'll ask you to also hit the like button, share it amongst your friends if you can, and if possible, subscribe to the channel, because all of these things can help the channel grow. So, that's it for now. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.